I'm not going to stand up here and tell you guys what to do. I'm not going to stand up here and say don't do drugs. I'm not going to try to scare you with a bunch of statistics. What I am going to do is share my experience with you. And I really hope that somebody in here can relate to that. Because somebody in here today is struggling. Someone today is suffering from depression. Somebody here woke up with so much anxiety that you didn't even want to leave the house this morning. Maybe somebody's getting bullied. Someone's home life is probably a mess right now. And I can guarantee you that somebody in here or somebody you know is struggling with drugs or alcohol. Am I talking about you? See, I never thought when I made a decision to take my first drink when I was 12 years old, that would have been the first decision of many that ruined my life. It's not if your child's going to get introduced to drugs, it's when your child's going to get introduced to drugs. Who in here worries about what other people think about them? Raise your hand, be honest. For those of you that raised your hand, thank you for your honesty. Who in here didn't raise your hand because you were worried about what somebody else would have thought about you if you raised your hand? For those of you that are laughing, thank you for your honesty. And for those of you that want to laugh and you want to raise your hand but you still won't, I know exactly how you feel because that's how I felt my entire life until I took that drink. If you knew how I felt in here when I wasn't drinking and using drugs, you would not ask me why I did it. I was so uncomfortable in my own skin and did not know how to live life on life's terms as the only way that I knew how to wake up and go to sleep. When I got into high school, I started with what most people would refer to as gateway drugs or recreational drugs. I got news for everybody. There's no such thing as gateway drugs. The gateway drug is the first one that you try. For a lot of people, it happens to be weed. For somebody else, it might be a prescription pill. I can guarantee you right now, if anybody in here has students in middle school or high school that are already drinking and vaping, that is their gateway drug. But more importantly than that, it's not the substance that's gateway, it's the behavior. It's the behavior behind the intention of why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. What's going on with you in here that you have to vape in between classes? What's going on with you that you can't feel comfortable in a room full of people you've known your entire life without a red Solo cup in your hand? I don't know about you, but for me, I could be at a party with 100 people and feel like the only one in the room until I took something, until I drank something, until I smoked something. That is gateway behavior. In 2013, it got the best of me. I was married at the time, and I actually had an overdose. My wife came home and found me on the floor, unconscious, unresponsive, and I ended up in the ICU with a tube down my throat. But then there's another form of being suicidal, and it's the kind that I was. And if you look it up, it's defined as being destructive to one's own interests. And that was me. Taking handfuls of pills, washing them down with a fifth of vodka, not caring who it affected or how it impacted my loved ones. Because I wasn't trying to kill myself that night. I really wasn't. I'm lucky to say it's only by the grace of God that I did wake up, and I'm so thankful because I didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live. So I did the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my entire life. I asked for help. The very first thing I asked everybody to do was think of a 34-letter word. And I'm willing to bet that nobody came up with this. Help is the dirtiest 4-letter word that I've ever known. It's the one thing that everybody's willing to offer, but nobody wants to ask for because when we do, it makes us feel weak. It is okay to ask for help. See, maybe if I would have asked for help sooner, I would have graduated high school on time. Maybe if I would have asked for help sooner, I wouldn't have had that overdose and put my wife through that. Maybe if I would have asked for help sooner, I wouldn't have ended up in jail. By the time that you wait for somebody else to realize that you need help, it might be too late.
How have you been received?
It's the best paycheck I've ever gotten. The honorariums are nice, but when I have a student come up to me afterwards and say, I felt like you were talking about me, That's the important thing. And I've had students come up to me and tell me that they were cutting themselves, and we were able to get them together to the school psychologist office. Students that have reached out talking about that, I feel depressed, and, thanks to listening to you, I understand that I'm not alone. And they just need to know that somebody else is listening and somebody else has been where they've been.
I just kind of got chills because, that doesn't get any more real than that.